Hey gamers, welcome back to the Daily Dose. My name is XONEVANT, and today I wanted to talk about Resident Evil. I think we all remember hearing that for the first time back on the, for me it was on PlayStation 1. That's when I first played the game. Loved it, man. Absolutely just fell in love with it. And since then, I mean, it has been dying off a bit. You know, Resident Evil 6, I was really pumped up for that game, and it just was not the game that I wanted it to be at all. You know, Resident Evil, what makes that franchise so good is the survival horror aspect of it. But it seems like over recent, you know, game iterations, it's not been really survival horror anymore. There's really no survival involved, you know what I mean? You get plenty of ammo, tons of gear, and it just seems to be an easier game than it used to be. Honestly, I think the last really good game that I liked in the franchise was Resident Evil 4. I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. Resident Evil 5 wasn't too bad, but that's to me when it started kind of dying off. Resident Evil 4 was good, and then after that it just didn't have the same punch that it used to have for me. But I'm bringing this up because Capcom has recently made a statement to their investors that the Resident Evil fans are dying off, and I'm gonna quote them here. They're old and decayed. That's what it says. I guess what they're saying is that the core fan base for Resident Evil is in their early 30s or even 40s, and that they're kind of not playing games anymore. Well, I don't really believe that that's true. You know, they've actually tried to adapt to a younger audience, and because they've done that, they've lost their core fan base. What made Resident Evil so amazing was that you felt like every bullet needed to count. You know what I mean? Every move you make needed to count. And there was also this fear in the back of your mind that you were going to run out of health herbs, or you were going to run out of bullets, or you were going to run out of something in the game, right? And when Resident Evil 6 came out, I mean, it was just like, it was an action game. That's really what it was. There was really no horror elements to it. There was no survival elements, because I mean, you could get ammo for days, man. You could get all kinds of gear for days in that game. You see what I mean? You never ran out. And so there was really no survival horror to it, and that's what your fans want, Capcom. We want you to go back to that formula, that tried and true formula that you had in your back pocket in the PlayStation 1 days when I first heard Resident Evil. You know, that's what I want. I want that back. You see what I mean? So not only are they butchering some of their good, franchises, but they don't even know what we want. They've lost touch with us. You see what I mean? And that's a bad thing, man. If you're a big developer like that, or a big publisher, big anything, company, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, doesn't matter. If you lose touch with what your fans or your consumers really want, you might as well just go and shut your doors, close down. And we all know that Capcom's in a world of hurt now anyway, struggling for cash. You know what I mean? One of their biggest franchises, Resident Evil, they're going to their investors and saying, everybody who wants to play this game is old and decrepit. Nobody wants to play it. You see what I mean? And if they could just get a good investment and just make the game with that old tried and true formula, you know what I mean? It would be amazing. It would be amazing, and everybody would love it. But unless they go back to that formula, it is a dying franchise. You know what I mean? Resident Evil 6 was a huge turnoff for me. I mean, I'm not going to say it wasn't fun. I did have a pretty cool time playing it, but it wasn't Resident Evil. They could have slapped another title on it. You know what I mean? And I would have loved it for that. You know what I mean? But when you put that Resident Evil name on it, it's supposed to play a certain way. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the old Mega Man games back in the day, right? When I saw Mega Man, I knew how it was going to play. I didn't want it to play any different. When I saw a Metroid game, I knew how it was going to play. When I saw, a Zelda game, I knew how it was going to play. That's why when they made Link, you know what I'm talking about? Everybody went crazy because they tried to change the formula a bit. You know what I mean? There's some things in this industry that you don't need to change. You could literally make the same game 50 times. And because the formula is so good, right? All you have to do is just change the story up a little bit, do something a little bit, tweak it, but you can definitely make it successful. Assassin's Creed is a prime example. You know what I mean? Assassin's Creed to me is a great franchise. It has a really good story. You know what I mean? And they tend to just do the same thing every game. But because you're in a completely different environment, a completely different world every time, it makes sense. And it's enough to kind of keep you interested. It is repetitive, yes it is, but that's the formula. that's what I like about the game. I love treasure hunting and finding all the treasure chests and all that kind of stuff. You know, so if they take that stuff out, Assassin's Creed wouldn't be Assassin's Creed. So anyway, guys, that's kind of my thoughts on it. You know, like I said, especially if you grew up with Resident Evil, you're probably around my age, or you're at least above the age of 25 if you played it back in the day. I mean, wouldn't you still play it again if they went back to that old tried and true method where it was actually scary and, you know, you had limited, you know, gear? I mean, that's what we want. At least that's what I want. So you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's show. You guys be good.